Welcome to the show where we discuss the first of Marvel's Netflix miniseries and discern the truth about why this show stands above the rest. The elements of quality storytelling that other shows are blind to, but not this show. Join us as we start Discerning Daredevil. Yes, and tonight, BlueDragonFive, we will be covering episode 2, entitled Cutman. Why is it called Cutman, BlueDragonFive?
Well, boxing and Claire Temple's role in the episode.
Okay, fair enough. I think it's one of the titles that's a little vague.
Well,
Because I
also,
think most of the titles are like, there's a title that's literally like, Speak of the Devil. That's pretty on the nose. I can't really figure out the Cutman thing.
well, I remember there's also the bit in the episode with the cutting into someone, again, thanks to Claire Temple. So I think cutting is this reoccurring thing.
I can see that recurring motif. Okay, fair enough. And this show's great at that, and that's partly why we are doing the show to begin with. So, BlueDragonFive, yeah, episode 2. We are young into our recap series. We did episode 1 a couple days ago. So, what are your overall kind of broad spectrum thoughts on episode 2, besides the fact that the hallway scene is awesome?
Yeah, well, this episode was a biggie. It really showed kind of how they can do the again, the thing I keep kind of reiterating with this, and the reason we're approaching this kind of episode by episode, is because these episodes really hold up on their own, a lot of them, and I think just each of them feel, with the benefit of being on Netflix and without commercials and everything, it just feels like such an immersive, kind of involved, like there's no screen time wasted here. It feels like a mini movie for each of these, like a mini fulfilling movie. This feels like a great short film. This episode, it feels like there's a great kind of beginning, middle, and end, and it's so well plotted and everything. This episode is like a credit to like kind of excellent writing on a TV show, I think.
Yeah, it's very self-contained because it's just really, when you get down to it, there's just two basic storylines going on. There's Matt and Claire, and then on the side we have just kind of the the comic relief antics of Foggy and Karen and the eel drink. And then, then of course we have very heavy thematic stuff with Jack Murdoch that we'll definitely get into. But overall, it's definitely, like I said, it's one of those. It's very much an episode that highlights the strength of the show, which is, as you said, like feeling like each episode is kind of its own self-contained sort of mini Daredevil movie, which is awesome. With
that wondrous string, though, of kind of connecting it all in this grand, fantastic piece, too, like a 13-hour movie.
Of course. So with that in mind, BlueDragonFive, do you care to run down a quick summary of... Wait for it. The plot.
Sure. So let me just give you a quick little Cliff Notes version of what happened in this episode. So we find Matt. Matt is found wounded in a dumpster. Claire Temple patches him up. A night nurse, one could say.
Gotham, take notes on how to do a cold open.
We have periodic flashbacks to Matt and his father, Jack Murdoch, Batman Jack Murdoch. Meanwhile, we got Karen and Foggy having a night on the town. Matt and Claire, they interrogate one of the Russians' henchmen to find the boy who was kidnapped, which hence the reason Matt has been injured and baited into trying to find this kid. And in the end, Matt saves the kid. Yay! Awesomeness.
He saves the kid through one of the most awesome single-shot hallway fights in the history of film.
Exactly.
So
that's the episode in a nutshell, Cutman. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, so with that, let's get into some arcs.
Now, if I may, I think we should break this down into 3 arcs. So there's Matt's present-day arc, Foggy and Karen's arc, and third one would be Matt and Jack.
I am totally right there with you, buddy. That's exactly how I wanted to
do it. In that order, too.
All right, great minds think alike. Okay, so where do you want to start? What was the order?
Yeah, so let's start with Matt. Just Matt, kind of present-day Matt. So what's Matt's... How was Matt involved in this episode? So we started the episode, he's beaten and near death. He's really kind of the lone vigilante, still in his adolescence, so to speak, in this big world. He's been ambushed, so he's just been beaten, got out of there by the skin of his teeth. I can assume he broke some bones along the way, but still clinging to life in a dumpster. But thankfully found by the wonderful character that is Claire Temple.
Well, technically not. He's technically found by
right,
Santano.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I keep forgetting that. In my notes, I kept writing, well, Claire patches him up, but I keep forgetting, yeah, but Santino, who's going to be important later on. He's one of our trail ones there.
Right.
Santino finds Daredevil and brings him to Claire Temple, who graciously patches him up, because she's just kind of this endearing night nurse, in a way. It's
oh, you said it. Name drop. Ooh.
Technically, she's like a blend of two characters, actually. There actually is a character called Claire Temple, and there's a character called... The Night Nurse is kind of a moniker for, like, kind of various people. Just, it's the idea of, like, a nurse that kind of helps heal the superheroes. Like, the original one had the hilariously ironic name of Linda Carter.
Oh, God.
Seriously, it's hilarious. But that's actually a pretty neat comic, just the idea, like, kind of the medical staff of the Marvel Universe.
And it makes sense. You know what I mean? It adds kind of an air of logic into this, like, crazy universe that we have.
And the reason they maybe went with Claire Temple is because in the comics, and I can't verify this, but in the comics, she has ties to Luke Cage. So maybe in the Luke Cage show, we'll see.
There we go.
I'd love it if she was kind of the connecting pin within all these Netflix shows, like if they all kind of met her.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Rosario Dawson for a second, because how good is she in the role?
Oh, she's fantastic. I mean, she really just brings that kind of like humanity in a person just trying to do the best she can this really bad part of town. And she's also, I love her arc in this episode too. Like, she's conflicted in assisting in Matt's kind of war on crime at first here. Like, she's wondering what she's getting into. As Matt says, you knew what you're getting into when you helped fish me out of that dumpster with the kid.
It kind of puts you in her shoes in this whole episode. You know what I mean? The whole episode is kind of revolving around her, and you know, like, holy crap, like, this guy, and it's literally just, what I love about it is that it starts right in the middle of, like, Matt's insane night, and we don't even really get the details of we do kind of get the details of what went down, you know what I mean, but it's very secondhand. Yeah. So it really just thrusts you right into it.
I'll say this. I think one of the best lines she has is like that great line of "convince me it's worth it." It just kind of gives us the grand perspective of, well, how would any human person react to just finding a beaten and bloody vigilante that at the commissary you take in there to patch up because it's the only decent thing to do. But how do you not commit this guy? How do you not just call him into the cops? Like, he has to convince me this is not just one crazy guy. Convince me you're actually trying to help here. Like, convince me this isn't like not even that, not even just like if it's crazy, just convince me this is actually a thing that's going to help at all. It's not just going to be you just instantly getting killed. Convince me you actually have a plan of some kind here.
And throughout the course of the series, like, Daredevil really gets challenged on that whole notion of what he's doing really helping people.
Yeah, there's also a question here that's kind of raised in terms of Matt's arc here of, like, the question of Matt going too far, kind of that devil, that devil thing coming through of, like, the
Murdoch boys, they got the devil in them.
Yeah, like, kind of that side of Matt kind of coming too far, like the whole "I do this because I like it" threat to the one guy, and the question is there any truth in that or not? Because Matt's willing to go as far to get the job, and of course, Daredevil in the comics, there have been times where he's been really more than willing to kill. I mean, usually the way it goes is that by happenstance he does not kill the person, but he's more like he stabs Bullseye a lot, and I mean a lot. I mean, like, again, the funny gag with Bullseye, recurring gag with Bullseye in the comics, said nothing kills this guy. This guy, God knows, like, he's literally, there's like some story where Daredevil carves, he used to have like a tattoo of a Bullseye under his mask on his head, but then Matt used like a sai or something to carve that into his head.
Oh, God.
Well, to be fair, Bullseye really does deserve that, though. He's a real monster.
Oh, of course.
It's basically, what if Deadpool liked the sick thrill of it instead of just doing it for the money? That's pretty much Bullseye. It's a crazy guy who just does it because he loves it. And then it's maybe a little foreshadowing.
But I definitely think that with that moment with Matt on the rooftop, when he says, I enjoy this, I definitely prescribe to the theory that he was doing it just for sheer intimidation factor.
Oh, he was, but I mean, I think he acknowledges that there's a part of him that is like, he likes making a difference, but he's more than willing to kind of embrace that kind of that devilish side of, there's a kind of like a fire brewing in me I can bring out to really just kind of scare that part of him that literally kind of fits into the name Daredevil of, like, I'm daring to go farther than other people will, and that's really scary to other people. It's even scary to myself. I'm willing to go really far, and I don't even know if I can rein that part of me in. So I mean, yeah, there's definitely a question of will Matt go too far? Even Claire kind of brings up like you almost killed that guy. You threw him in the dumpster. Is he alive?
Yeah, that's going to be a big moment. Like even going forward, like that guy. Isn't he the guy that's going to be like the big kind of driving point where he wakes up in the hospital?
Yeah, he's in a coma to be certain. And let's just say he's a big kind of he's a pivotal part of the series going forward with stuff.
Right. So yeah, so that moment is definitely kind of a turning point with Matt, where it's like have to be brought up. Like, did he just go too far in that moment?
Yeah, and to be fair, the guy was really a scumbag. He was talking about essentially he was kind of joking about killing kids and selling them into slavery of like God knows what and how many sorts. Just like selling human trafficking of children, which can only lead to really horrendous implications.
Yeah, speaking of which, I love the moment where where Daredevil, he's like Claire's in the background in that creepy white robe, and the guy's talking about like, oh, what happens if you save kid? We just find another kid and then another kid. Supply and demand or whatever.
And then you see a close. Why so there?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
So you see Claire, and she's like, it's in that moment that she's like, okay, you know what? You want to hurt this guy? Just stab him right here. Stab him right here. There.
Like the
that really gets under her skin. What?
Yeah, like the trifemoral artery or something.
Yeah.
Basically, right above the eye.
Drive him down. Yeah. Oh boy.
Well, something really kind of cool and kind of the building blocks of Matt's arc here is that Claire does she motivates him for. Claire is a very important person for Matt to meet here because she kind of symbolizes a few milestones he needs to cross here to become Daredevil ultimately. She points out, you got a really bad costume. It's a real crappy costume. She points out, you're getting beat up. You have this terrible costume.
Right, and I love the way that they worked in, like, yeah, aesthetically, like, it is kind of a terrible costume, but my God, how well does it work within the context and the framework of the overall series?
Oh, it does. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, like, she.
Oh no, I know. I think it's a strength. I know you're not knocking it.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I think the other important thing Claire kind of symbolizes here is that he can't do this alone. Because again, if he does this completely alone, he's going to get beaten up and he'll be bleeding out in an alleyway somewhere if someone's not there to help him out. So Claire is a very important asset to have, realizing he can't just do this like alone. Which
sure, and that's kind of later on we'll get he'll get allies like Ben Urich, who kind of becomes his Gordon in a way, and then also the stuff that happens down the road with Foggy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, just like she does symbolize these changes that he will ultimately make. Getting refining his fighting, kind of working on some plans, how not to get shot and stabbed constantly, which we see pay off in the last episode big time.
You see, it was fine. No need to get all stabby, okay?
Also, we see Matt's stubbornness here. His go-to. There's this great bit where Matt is he's still really wounded. Like he's at the point where she's told him, it's way on the couch, sleep a little bit, and then they get a knock at the door, and it's potentially basically it's one of the Russian guy's cronies. Mm-hmm. And he's more well. I just love this. Just the wounded Matt. He goes for like a vegetable knife. It's all he has. But again, he's wounded, so he can't even do his regular stuff at the moment. And then I love how she points out here that why basically essentially she says like, why is your go-to violence? Okay, obviously you can't do this right now. So just let's try a non-violent approach with this guy.
Yeah.
So again, that's important. That's kind of working in some additional strategy in Matt. Now Matt's no slouch when it comes to strategy, but still he's more going. He puts a little more confidence in his fighting abilities than he probably should. He should focus a little more on kind of crafting the stuff around that.
Right. And I also think I think there's a lot of significance in terms of the reoccurring thing in this episode about people being able to see his face.
Yeah.
Because, it starts out like that's like one of the first things he says to Claire when he wakes up. It's like, you can see my face, can't you? And so I think that really does kind of go to, to kind of be a good symbol for what you're talking about how, Matt needs to kind of open up, like not necessarily just reveal his face to the world per se, but he can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And also another important thing with that, is at the very end of the episode, he takes off his mask and shows the kid the face. So that kind of bookends the whole thing together.
Yeah, it does. Matt has to acknowledge that he is human, which in this episode, his stubbornness kind of prevents him from doing that. That, I'm a vigilante with a mission. I'm going to save this kid. But of course, not realizing the limitations in what he's doing. And the fact, the bad guys, in response to your activities, might have prepared for you, might have set up an ambush. Hence the reason the kid's in danger. So again, Matt is kind of confronted with. So I love this. Matt, we see the human side of Daredevil. He's confronted with these realistic obstacles he has to kind of adapt to. And of course, being a blind man, that's all he's done in his life, which we do get to see in the flashbacks a little of him kind of learn the Braille and everything.
Oh yeah.
Now, something I think the biggest reoccurring theme in this, the big thematic thing of this episode, I think is really pivotal to the whole series, is hope. There's a lot of hope in this episode.
Sure, which is important to kind of establish early on in this series, considering like how dark it gets around the midpoint.
Of course. Now, one of the big scenes with Matt's arc here with the hope is that I just love this idea that he realizes there is hope in Hell's Kitchen, because again, people like it is Santino, right? The kid's Santino.
Santino, yeah.
Right. So like Santino and Claire, they decide to help him out. They take him in and help him out. Just showing you there's hope there. Of course, Claire's wonderful story about why she decided to help out Matt is because she would go into the hospital for a nighttime shift, and there'd be people coming in of like 3 guys that broke 9 broken bones and all that stuff, like guys in shambles, but also like there was a trauma victim who just came in and says she was about to be killed or mugged or something, and then she screamed and someone heard her screams and saved her. Really moving and wonderful scene.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
And just the point is she's kind of buying into to Matt at that point, and the man in the mask actually might be trying to help, and it's kind of the man in the mask is inspiring hope within kind of the lowest rent parts of Hell's Kitchen, just showing you can make a difference. People can help each other. Which is nice. They're starting to cement that idea in there, which is nice. And of course, man in the mask helping people out, and then appreciating, and that's why she helps it, because he helped other people. Really nice idea to get in there. I really loved it. He's starting to make a difference, but of course later on he's going to find new ways to make a difference that are more effective.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's kind of just coming. Like I said, the whole kind of beginning arc of this series is sort of like, all right, we're young, we're optimistic, let's see if we can make a difference. And then as Wilson Fisk gets introduced, it kind of, so this really is the last episode before Fisk comes into the picture. So this, I do feel like it's very important in these first 2 episodes to have, to have Jack Murdock, establish that whole thing and get us to really care about him. And he's kind of the heart and soul of Hell's Kitchen in a way. And then to establish just how much these characters love and care about this town. And then ironically enough, when we do get to the Kingpin, he's going to love and care about the town just as much.
Yeah. And I like this. Before we see Fisk, kind of, again, one of the best things of the show is you have the wonderful parallel between the Kingpin and Daredevil. And kind of their arcs becoming the men who they are towards the end of the show. Of course, that thing is just wonderfully seeded through all of this. And I think the big thing Matt realizes in this episode with that whole Claire speech is that, the man in the mask is kind of becoming an ideal almost. Again, it says something of we have our other ideals, in superheroes in general, you have your Batmans, your Supermans, your Spider-Mans that kind of show people, hey, listen, you guys can make a difference, be heroes, that sort of thing. And of course, in the most really crime-ridden part of New York, and a really kind of place just kind of clinging to life since the alien invasion, just rebuilding since the incident. Mm-hmm. It shows you that's the kind of hero they need. They need a Daredevil hero, one that's going to use the violence to confront the other violence and just show their, you guys, you might be bleeding, you might be wounded, but you can still live through this.
Yeah, definitely. They need someone more street level, which is always what Daredevil's kind of always been about.
Of course, again, with Devil in his name, he's confronting a lot of evil. A lot of real evil and just horribleness in humanity, because I wanted to think. Very true. And something, two things here is one, I love how he kind of wins over Claire after being confronted by, and like she's there, as you mentioned, she's there too, but just being confronted by this true menace and just seeing the necessity of those violent means to confront this true menace, like this horrible guy just saying, yeah, the kid's dead. Just instantly, the callousness of him just instantly lying and saying, oh no, the kid's dead. Well, at least he will be. And if he's not, we're just going to sell him like the rest of the kids. And there'll be others.
There'll be others.
Just horrible guy. And then she just, yeah, you're right, dude. She just gets ticked off and just says, hey, stab him here, right here. And again, also, there are two things in Matt's arc are really important here before we move on to the next one, unless you got anything else. But
no, I don't.
One, he's realizing, again, the bad guys have taken notice of him trying to make a difference, and that puts people in danger, which, again, is why Daredevil needs to up his game here. And also, he realizes with that, confronting this guy and just seeing how far the bad guys, because remember, the bad guys, the Russians did this to lure him out. They did this crime hoping to catch him, and that means they would have done the God knows how many other people. Yes.
Yes, it was.
So again, this shows that Matt needs more forethought and strategy in approaching these guys, because now he knows that they're after him and they're going to lay traps like this for him. So he's realizing I got to have a better strategy.
They're definitely using like strategy and cunning to get to him.
Yes, and
that's really one of the great things, how much the show kind of builds and builds in terms of the menace and the empire of the Kingpin.
And I think the biggest thing here, it definitely pays off next episode, is that he's realizing in this moment when he's interrogating the guy that he needs to be feared. He needs to be a symbol of not giving up. You're confronted by this evil, but you cannot give up. You need to be feared. You need to make the enemy fearful of you by doing whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah, right. So that's definitely going to play into his tactics moving forward, for sure.
Okay, so let's go to Foggy and Karen, unless you got anything else.
No, I don't. Okay, so the comic relief of the episode, for sure. I mean, how good is this? Like, juxtaposed between all this intense stuff going on between Matt and Claire, stabbing people, maybe killing people, talks of child abduction and child trafficking and all that. Then we get Claire and Karen. Oh, I'm sorry. Then we get Karen and Foggy. I'm sorry about that. We get Karen and Foggy drinking the eel. They drank the eel, BlueDragonFive. They drank it. It is inside of them, and now they have awesome eel powers.
I'm thinking Foggy got a little more of that eel than Karen did.
Yeah, but Karen was still, the thing that really makes me laugh with Karen is when she reacts to the old woman who opens the window when they're outside of Matt's apartment. She's like, oh, Foggy, we'll be quiet. We'll be quiet.
So this is when I think this is when definitely I fell in love with Karen Page. Like, oh my God.
No, yeah, for sure. For me too. It's
she
like, I think
so
the first episode I was kind of up and down with her, but yeah, here it's like, okay, this is great. This is a great dynamic we have going on.
So I love stuff that's done with Karen here. We're going to bridge the Foggy in just a second here, but we start the episode. We see Karen. She is. I love this. It makes sense. It's purely logical. I love it. She is fearful of going back home because she's got these terrible memories there. I mean, she's haunted by the trauma of Daniel's murder, and the blood stains are still there. In fact, their place is still dented from when she got her head bashed and people are trying to kill her.
Not good.
She's been kind of like a puppet, and then she was almost killed and everything. And thankfully the Man in the Mask is there. So I love that the Man in the Mask is kind of present, even though they keep trying to get him to join them when they go out drinking, which is pretty funny. It's like, where is Matt? Oh yeah, that who's great? That Man in the Mask. He saved us, Matt. Not funny. Anyway, so she's dealing with a lot there. So it's some realistic kind of actual trauma stuff worked in there. So she's like, I love the little touches. Like she's been working all nighters, and like she's really hesitant to go home. Foggy being the wonderful guy that he is, just he comes out of the office singing, and he's like, wait, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? You must be in love with me or something. Why else would you stick around?
And then, of course, the great line, the great line of, oh, were you listening? Could you hear that? No. The correct answer is yes, and you sound amazing.
Well,
that was like, oh my God, I love Foggy.
Yeah, seriously, the guy playing Foggy Nelson, he does a fantastic job.
Okay, first of all, I am awkward and unfashionable. You're neither one of those things. So why aren't you out enjoying the town?
Yeah. So she and Foggy hit it off real well. They go to they go to the bar.
In spite of, may I remind you, in spite of the fact that he was about ready to walk out on her, he was out the door when, the first episode when she said that she didn't have any money. So I feel like that's kind of a thing that's in the back corners of their relationship the whole time.
Yeah, but I think she's gotten over
as adorable as it is. As adorable as it is.
Yes, I think she's gotten over pretty fast, though. And how can you be mad at this guy? Come on.
Oh, I know.
I mean, these two, they really hit it off. They have some great banter we see really start here again with some of these great one-liners between the two of them. A true friendship is really developing here. Again, she's still kind of closed off here, but Foggy's getting her out of the shell and trying to shake her from her trauma. And basically, he sees that there's something up with her, and he wants to cheer her up. So again, good old Foggy's being a nice guy. Again, it's funny seeing the guy who never gets the girl. He's trying to be an actual friend. He's not just trying to hit on her or anything. He's just saying,
absolutely.
Yeah. He's just trying to cheer up, which again, I'm hoping these two kids get together, maybe. But again, it's like an Archie situation with these three, so who knows?
I like the whole idea that they can't stay in the office after midnight because they can't afford to keep the lights on.
Yeah. Okay. Nelson and Murdoch is one of the best sets ever. It's comedy gold everywhere you look. It's like, well, we don't have money for that. I saw some rats there.
Oh, just wait until we get to all the random useless nonsense that she buys at the auction.
Oh yeah, well, can't wait. Okay, so they go to Josie's bar, which is another really great set piece that's going to be coming back.
Yes, it's a really great set piece for sure.
So I love kind of Foggy. I love Foggy's whole part of the episode here, where he's just kind of. We see how truly interconnected Foggy and Matt are to this neighborhood, to Hell's Kitchen here. How they're boys of the kitchen, They're and how Foggy's family also is kind of intertwined in the neighborhood, like his cousins and people that are just kind of like these humble blue collar guys, like working drywall, drywall and butchering and all sorts of stuff. They're really kind of low key jobs, but again, useful jobs to a neighborhood. And the backstory here of we can drink for we helped get the lease of this place using our legal skills, and that's why the place stays open. And it says and because of that we can drink for free. And Josie saying, no, we certainly cannot.
Agree to disagree, Josie.
Again, it's also just Josie and Fox. I know it's adorable too.
Oh yeah, they're great.
So the idea is just Foggy, it's what Foggy does in this whole scene between the two of them at the bar when they're really bonding here, aside from the eel drink's pretty funny. He says, is there an eel in here? Only one way to find out. Look, they have really good banter and kind of bonding here.
I feel like they should market something like that. I feel like that'd be a really good marketing ploy.
Well, maybe for season 2, they'll have it ready to promote season 2.
I would totally do a Brad Try style video on it.
So there's I love the little conversation like this. Is this a date? The whole question of if it's a date or not, because it doesn't feel like a date. This is not a date, right?
Like how Foggy, Foggy he's the gentleman. He's like, no, this woman is my employee. I am taking her out. And I am treating her to a good time, but no, this is absolutely not a date.
Well, first he's asking, "Is this a date?" She's saying, "No, good, it's not a date." Really, really sweet chemistry kind of starting between. They used to have really great chemistry together. The jokey guy kind of girl has been through a lot, and he's just kind of cheering her up a little. She's a girl, she can have fun, but she's been through a lot.
I mean, for a lot of the episodes of this show, it's just going to be her and Foggy, and then Matt's just going to be off doing God knows what.
Yes, and the best one of the best elements here is she kind of lays out her issues here. She says that she sees the dark corners and the threats of Hell's Kitchen ever since she's been through her stuff. And I love this. This is my one of my favorite parts. Again, the thematic thing of hope in this episode. Foggy brings a lot of hope to her here. He says, there are no threats here. Look around you. He just sees the good side of the people in the kitchen. Because again, he's kind of intertwined along with Matt with the people of Hell's Kitchen. He's seen the good and the bad. He's a lawyer, for crying out loud. He knows these people. He points out, no, that guy, no, look, basically saying, that guy's not a bad. He may look scary, but no, he's not bad. He's got like kids and stuff and whatever. And they're like, okay, this guy actually is bad, but he's working on it though.
No, he's this close to getting his kids into St. Agnes daycare. St. Agnes!
Which is adorable. So again, I love how Foggy's just bringing the hope of like, no, there are no dark corners. Everyone's just, they have their own stuff going on. They're all good though.
Exactly.
Really nice. And after they get drunkenly cheered up, they venture to the fish markets.
Oh God. And
they try inviting Matt, who is not there, which, by the way, nice little transition between that and like the water tower.
Right, yeah.
And at the end of it all, it's just like this great little moment of thanks between the two of them. We're like, thank you, Foggy. Really, really sweet, really nice.
Yeah, really good light.
Their arc's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the really heart of the episode here. What's the heart beyond the action and beyond the hilarity? What's the middle ground?
Murdoch!
Don't make me cry. It's Matt and his father, Matt and Jack Murdoch here. So first of all, lovely. Again, I've always had a soft spot for Jack Murdoch. He's just this lovely father-son dynamic here. We see from the beginning of Jack comes home before Matt lost his sight, and it's kind of the reoccurring thing is like Jack, he loses a lot of fights, never got knocked down, never got knocked out, I should say.
And of course, Matt goes into a lot of detail about that in his opening monologue to the priest.
Yeah. Which, of course, is like that great lip bleeding moment from the last episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I love just kind of the idea that the modus operandi here is, Jack comes home beaten and stuff, and then the stuff is, well, Matt's doing his studying stuff at night, then he puts it aside for a second to patch up his father. Yeah, so it's nice though, kind of seeing like this kind of the sad, endearing parts of Jack Murdoch here. He's kind of this defeated father who wants more out of life, or he's wanted more out of life. He's just the boxer who constantly loses and gets paid for it. And he's in
kind of just this corrupt system, and it's just, and the system itself is just pouring down and beating down on what his feelings as being a boxer are, which is he's got to fight, he's got to. It especially what he wants to show to his son, which is really the driving force here. Yeah,
I love though the best thing about Jack Murdoch is he encourages. He's a fighter, but he's a fighter. He's not the most educated guy, but he encourages education like crazy to his son here. And again, unfortunately, you get that sad reveal. He loses. He gets paid for losing fights, which is pretty sad. Like that moment, just looking at shame in the envelope and says Matt's.
Oh yeah. When Matt overhears it, and it's like, oh God, Trevor.
Well, I'm thinking like when he's like going through the envelope after he's patching him up, and he says, "Wait, you got all this for losing?" Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And also, again, so here's a big moment going to come back when we see the flip side of Matt here. When we see,
we'll definitely talk about this more when we get to the Braille Trail. But yeah,
sure. But we have a great moment of Matt taking a swig of scotch to patch him up, which really I know for you must have been a really gruesome scene, seeing him like get sewn up and everything.
Oh yeah. I don't like that that surgery stuff. Ugh.
Well, neither am I. I'm not too crazy about either. But in this case, it's the sewing up, and it wasn't too gruesome. And thankfully, the show it's unrated. We didn't see.
I've seen worse.
But still, it's kind of endearing. Just like Matt is the one who has to sew his father up, and of course, the fun parallels that Matt currently is being sewn up.
Yeah, the transitions back and forth between the flashbacks are really, really good this episode.
Yeah, again, what's kind of shown here is like he gives his son scotch to drink. We'll get to the implications with the Braille Trail, but
of course.
He gives Matt some scotch to drink, but it shows you here that Jack Murdoch, he's doing it for a purpose, just so he can steady his hands, so the thing will go through it all right. And he's responsible yet unconventional. So it's an unconventional thing for a father to give his son alcohol, like that as young a kid as he is. But he's doing it for a responsible reason. He's making sure don't drink the whole thing.
Yeah, he's doing it for a practical purpose.
And he's making sure.
Matt's like, oh, can I take the bottle back with me when I do homework?
So it's adorable. So Jay Murray is one of the most endearing father characters.
Sure.
He's just he's very supportive of Matt after the accident too. So I love that. Like Matt's just doing his homework to the side while he's boxing. He's going over there. He's actually having a real conversation with them, saying, "Well, okay, what do these dots mean? Like, why don't they just have the words there? Well, no, this is easier." And he's kind of walking. Well, you're gonna be smarter than me one day. I'm already smarter than you now. Ha 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 ha. It's adorable.
Oh, you joker.
Yes. Oh yeah, I love that. Man, I really love that guy, Jack Murdoch. Yes, the guy's awesome.
I would watch a whole show just about his boxing career.
Yeah.
I really would.
Like, just, you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see if more of like a DVD of this, like just like a funny little documentary on the career of Jack Murdoch.
That would be amazing. Yeah. The
Like,
rise and fall of battling Jack Murdoch.
Like one of those Rocky documentaries only featuring Jack Murdoch.
Oh my God, Marvel, make this happen, please.
And just like do it like an actual documentary, like you see like the highlight reel and stuff, and like the whole. And then tragically, his son was blinded, but this didn't deter Jack Murdoch. You know, stuff like that. Interviews with Matt Murdock all grown up.
Oh God.
And anyways, let's see. So speaking of is that really sports? And again, the important thing with Jack Murdoch here, in terms of how it connects to Matt here, is he wants to set an example. He wants to set an example for his son. That's why he tries to he realizes, I got to stop kind of taking these fights from him. What kind of examples is setting here? And he turns down the Creel fight, which is a really hard fight to get. Now, by the way, Creel, I'm going to mention the Braille Trail. The Creel, he's a Marvel character of importance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So really nice that he tries to give his son kind of a good life. Towards the end here, what he does climatically after he's kind of forced into taking the Creel fight, because they might threaten to, take away his, not take away, but, maybe kill his son or threaten his son if he doesn't take the fight.
Right.
Yeah. He does this really risky move. He bets the farm on him winning the fight after he's really not supposed to do that. He bets it all on him winning, and then basically trying to pull like a Butch from Pulp Fiction, pretty much.
God.
Essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
In a nutshell, I just love this. He's still Jack. He's such a good father. He's trying to give his son a good life, at least set for a while. And he's also trying to set an example just by But you're betting on a fight that he's going to win, because again, the best thing about it, in order to feed into another moment we're going to cover, is he wants to hear people cheer for him.
Oh, of course.
Of course, is going to lead to a lot of tragedy.
I feel like did you skip over when Matt wakes up in the hospital?
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, no, it wasn't that last. You sure it wasn't the first episode we got then, or was that?
No. That was this episode. It was this episode. He wakes up in the hospital and he's like, "Everything's so loud." And I remember it because it cuts back.
Oh right, you're right. You're right. When he falls asleep, then that's when he has the airway problem. You're right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's just like a really harsh, freaky transition. Like Matt's just like, I can't see, and then it cuts back, and then Matt in presentation like, I can't breathe. So it's really dramatic.
Yeah, and she does almost. It's not exactly a trick. Yeah, it's like the thing you do for a collapsed lung, where you stab like a little straw thing in the air. Basically, it's kind of like a mix between. I'm not a medical guy at all, so it's like a mix between like a straw and an adrenaline shot. It's like it puts air into the lung and stabilizes it.
Mm-hmm. Oh God! But no, just seriously, that just the intensity of that hospital scene. I think it lasts less than a minute, but it's just like Matt. He's got the big bandages over his eyes, and then it's like he's hearing all the different sounds from different hospital rooms and everything like that. I'm sorry, I can't talk.
Yeah, so
really effective stuff.
So if I may, based on that,
yeah.
We want to transition to where the episode. Sorry.
What?
Where the episode dared to be different.
Well, we're not quite done with the Matt stuff, are we?
Well,
Jack stuff.
Well, I thought you wanted to save that for when we get to,
Okay, well, one last thing is that you mentioned that he calls and he changes the bet, but let's talk about really quick the other phone call he makes.
Oh, yes, he's...
Yeah. I just don't want to skip anything out.
I was also going to save that for Braille Trail. We can cover it now.
Oh, were you? Okay, I'm sorry. This is why we should plan this stuff out beforehand more.
Sorry, folks.
You want to? Okay, so let's just save that for Braille Trail, and then let's go into the moments where the episode dared to be different. Oh yeah.
So with those fantastic cuts and transitions, like we mentioned, cut into the water tower, where basically Foggy and Karen there to trying to get Matt, and then we see the water tower in the background, which is where the torture is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, I mean, just the violence in general is, I mean, especially the moment, like the cut above the eyebrow moment. Oh, God, that is definitely a cringe-inducing scene. And the actor who's, who's the victim in that moment is just like going nuts. Like he is really selling how much in pain he is.
Remember the great setup line by Claire though, which is like she says, like Matt says, "Well, how do I know when I hit it?" It says, "They'll tell you."
They'll tell you.
Oh my God! And by the way, just the whole bit, it's how much of a Frank Miller nod it is or not, I'm not sure, but I know it kind of reminds me of another Frank Miller work. Reminds me of there's this great bit in The Dark Knight Returns where he says, just he basically cuts the bad guys, his opponents, makes like with his gauntlets, makes like a slice, like cuts above his eyebrow.
Oh,
cuts one of the arteries. You don't see it in detail. I'm just saying, makes like a little cut mark above his eye, and it's bleeding down, basically, so the guy can't see. He says, "What was that? Like a paper cut, or like what was that?"
What was that?
So he says, "Just a cut above the eye, the one that bleeds, and it bleeds, and that's why he has the upper advance because he's punching him, even though he can't see."
For some reason, it's reminded me of probably my favorite moment in the Thomas Jane Punisher movie is when he has the the popsicle and he's threatening like, "Oh, I have a blowtorch and it's so hot that it'll feel cold."
It's a brilliant scene, by the way. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Daredevil.
No.
So, yeah. So the action of the torture, we've seen torture in a new way with this scene. Torture, really creative torture, like the whole getting the trifemoral artery and stabbing him and getting there, and the idea he's throwing him off roofs and basically Batman would just like hold him off to the side and then bring him up and just like knock him out. But no,
yeah, Batman, he'll like drop a guy off of like a 2-story ledge or some stuff like that. But Daredevil, oh man.
He literally like drops him all the way down to the dumpster.
He's just like, "Fuck you!"
It's so ironic because, hey, you guys put me in the dumpster, I'm gonna put you in the dumpster.
Right.
How do you like it?
I think at that moment he did enjoy it.
Yeah. It's like there again, real quick, just like another Dark Knight Returns reference of like he dragged the guy up a building to hang him upside down to scare the crap out of him in the dialogue box. Like in Batman's internal monologue, it says, "It's a lot of work dragging." Because remember, Batman's like 50 years old in the story. It's a lot of work dragging his carcass up this building, but his scream makes it all worth it. So let's talk about some of where this episode really dared to be different, aside from just the wonderful torture in a new way and a lot of the violence and stuff, which I think it gets periodically more violent per episode, by the way.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Especially next episode.
I mean, thank God for Foggy Nelson to have that kind of Marvel levity in the show.
Yeah, so first of all, one of the things is there to be different. Like, this has been done a few times before. I think the way they did it was really good. We start kind of after the action, and I think that's always like a good touch for a show. You just kind of start mid-action. You explain, just like through the episode, like later on, like what happened. But really just kind of starting it with him in the in the dumpster.
Yeah, absolutely. The new Mad Max movie starts out very much the same way, where it's just like Max in the middle of this crazy storyline that he just gets literally thrown into. So I really like stories that are able to do that because it feels like we as an audience, we're automatically just captivated because we are right in the thick of this, bigger story, and we're like kind of in the most intense moments of it with Matt.
Yeah, kind of like Reservoir Dogs. You start with that like after the robbery,
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah, just always kind of starting after the action, being able to pull it off without having to know every detail of what happened. Because we had it well set up in the last episode. He's going after the kid, and then he just references like there was an ambush. So it's all you need. It's just, okay, we've seen so much action. We're going to see a lot more action as the series goes on. We don't need to explain. Just like they beat the crap out of him, which is going to happen a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, but do you want to get into the moment that truly is kind of a game changer for action scenes in general?
In a moment. But
okay.
Let's talk a little more about the format. So this episode is kind of like a box episode almost. It's kind of broken down into those three arcs.
I would definitely call it a box episode.
I mean, really, if we didn't cut to the other stories, which again, pretty much each of these stories is a box episode in itself. It's all Matt and Jack scenes. It's all Foggy and Karen. It's all Claire and Matt, pretty much. And it's like kind of a set situation, like a set, pretty much.
Exactly.
That building, that bar, and kind of the gym.
Right.
I mean, there's some transitions here and there, but pretty much it is kind of a box office reach these scares. It's really self-contained within the scenes. It's really nice. And of course, seeing someone stitched up is kind of like a new thing, kind of a Breaking Bad-ish thing to see on a Marvel show.
And as I mentioned, I definitely think the cold open is probably the most Breaking Bad out of all the cold opens, perhaps.
Yeah, just waiting for
where it's just Santino just, he's going to the dumpster, he's got his bag of trash, and then he drops the bag of trash, and then the camera zooms in, and it's Matt in his Daredevil getup, like just all beaten up and bloody in the dumpster, and then cut to the intro.
By the way, so I want to say, if we didn't say it before, I love that intro.
Oh yeah, of course. Da, 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 da. All right,
no, it's like dun, 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 dun. No, anyway, sorry. So yeah, let's move on to the creme de la creme. What's the huge kind of where this is a really dare to be different, and boy, oh boy, did it work.
All right. Well, first off, it's worth noting that it's also definitely a moment of extreme blinding awesomeness. Sure. So all the blinding moments of awesome that we're going to cover later are kind of like in the shadow of this. But yeah.
We'd be unanimous on this one, so is everyone else. But we're going to pick some different ones just to kind of be fair. But this one, the hallway fight it's done in one shot. Very, very well done. It's this great setup throughout the episode, kind of building towards this moment in like the last 2 to 3 minutes.
I couldn't believe, like rewatching it, I really couldn't believe how well it because it's basically like it shows all the setup of the room. We know where everyone is. We know where the Russians are. We know where.
And when you hear the kid in the room, like saying "Daddy, Daddy," which by the way we see in the past really well set up with the. All right, sorry. Yeah, I'm just remembering. Yeah, it does kind of tie into the moment later on. Point would basically cut to what happened to Matt. Ultimately, with Jack Murdoch just kind of yelling "Daddy, Daddy" when he happens upon his body.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there he is, man. And okay, did you watch the old boy clip that I told you to watch? You forgot.
Well,
okay. Well, basically, Old Boy is a kung fu movie. I'm not talking about the Josh Brolin remake. I'm talking about the original. There's a very, very awesome hallway fight in that movie. The difference is that this one is just like. I think the Daredevil one's even more impressive because it's got like all these sweeping camera angles and all these, whereas the one in Old Boy is just like a singular, like it almost kind of looks like a side-scrolling video game. You know what I mean? Where it's like there's one character just beating on a whole bunch of other different characters that are trying to kill him. So I don't know. I definitely think that this series took inspiration from that and even built upon what was awesome before. And
let me tell you about
more awesome.
Let me tell you about 2 really cool little tidbits about this scene. One, there's like a nice little visual reference to Daredevil, as well as kind of like a real good practical effect here. That Daredevil, his gloves and everything are covered in white string. Now that's a reference to, like
strings.
It's all connected.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
There's like there are a few like famous Daredevil shots of him like with strings around, like strings and bandages all over his black costume. And now there's a practical reason for that, Tiki. The idea is like even no matter how thin a string it is, but still when you have like string like tightly wrapped around your fist, that's gonna be like kind of brass knuckles almost.
Oh, sure. So
that's the purpose of that. He's weakened state, so he needs all the advantages. He doesn't have like lead on hand, so he's just tying a lot of string around him, like just to make those punches count even more. So there's a wonderful practical reason for that. The other thing, just a little for how they shot this. This is all done in one shot. So if they messed up, they had to do it all again. Thankfully they only had to do it like a few times, but they had like choreographed this perfectly.
This is the Birdman of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
This is like their little shot at Birdman, yeah. Shot at pulling off a Birdman shot. They're doing all in one shot. Really, yeah, similar thing. You just got to do it all in one shot. Just do it really well. And again, it's like beat by beat. It's so wonderful.
This place is horrible. Smells like balls. We don't belong in this shit. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, it's really nice to set up. You see like how many goons are in the room and just waiting for me. Just like seeing some of like the props and stuff in there, because literally we just follow Matt going down the hallway, and again, it's just these really confined space. Again, they're really brilliant on like how they pick the locations for a fight. They're not just going to warehouses every opportunity they got.
No Gotham.
It's not. It's all Batman. But it's just it goes into the room and just I love the off-screen action. That's one of the big benefits of this fight. Just what happens.
Oh, of course. That's the best. That is definitely what makes this kind of a dare to be different type moment. Is what we don't see.
Yeah, like there might be like a mini cut here and there, but pretty much like 97% of this is all one shot. There might be.
I don't think there's any cuts.
That's the thing. I think I heard him say like either there like might be like a technical mini cut from like when we see the room established and then we cut the Daredevil before the thing starts. Like it's like a technical cut, but it's really not even that much.
I don't even like watching it back. It's like watching Birdman. Like, it's just with Birdman, it's just like spot the cuts.
Well, I mean, I couldn't see it myself. I always heard like the guys that worked on it say there might be like a mini cut in there, so they can go for whatever you take from it. Again, point is it looks seamless. Anyway, so like the off-screen action is great because you know what happens. And if you don't feel cheated at it, because obviously you're going to see a lot of it unfold and wonderfully so. It's the idea that he goes into the room, so he bursts down the door, goes into the room, and you hear the action go off-screen. The door closes, guy gets flung out of there.
And then I love when he throws just the random cabinet or something.
It's like it's like a water cooler or a TV or something he throws at the guy. And just like slams him right on the head. Okay, now one of the best things we got a little bit of last episode, we got a lot of here, which is really great. We get to see the exhaustion take effect.
Oh God, I think this is like one of the quintessential fight scenes in any cinematic format that just really clearly illustrates how exhausting it is to actually fight, because these guys, they get worn down fast.
And again, one of the
it's not like a freaking action movie where it's like The Rock just running around and climbing off buildings and shit for like 45 minutes and not breaking a sweat. Like these guys are like, they are holding on for dear life. Like they are embracing every single monetary moment that they can get, just leaning on a wall and trying to regain just a tiny bit of their energy.
I think it's amazing. They crammed all this in like 3 minutes. And anyway, so like in this fight, one of the best kind of qualities that you're going to see a lot of here is just like, because it's great setup too. Of course, we know Daredevil is really not in the best of shape this episode. That's why
exactly. The whole time. Yeah.
Which is why he's not dispatching these guys maybe as quickly as he might. But still, even if it was as quickly as it might, the show's really smart enough to show. Yeah, this is an exhausting thing he does here. But I love this again. Now think about it, just kind of with Matt's arc here. He's kind of thinking out his moves a little more. So like he's really kind of trying to dodge these punches and like trying to like get other guys to hit other guys in a lot of this. So when that's happening, like he's avoiding the gunshots, like going to the left when they're going the other way. He basically used the great thing too, like these guys that they're getting up after their fight, because one, like as much help as Matt has with those strings around his gloves, they're not knockout punches. Which again, I think also kind of references Jack Murdoch in a way, kind of like the not being knocked out thing. Like obviously Matt and the guys don't really get knocked out that easily.
Oh no, definitely. I definitely think that's a big theme in terms of this final battle. It's kind of like everything that Jack kind of taught Matt about, like you can get knocked out, but you got to stand back up.
Yeah. Anyway, so as that fight's going on, it goes on for so long. Just like there's a kind of comedic moment of like, just stay down. You get a sense there. Like
everyone, like I said, they're all just like relishing and like just wanting to get like the last few seconds of just like, just re-energizing their bodies and just, and it's like it's almost like a Mexican standoff of like who's gonna be the first one to attack. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And of course this culminates with that really sweet moment of Matt just kind of hears the kid saying daddy, daddy. So in some psychological ways, like he's saving the kid like he wanted to be saved way back in the day when he was saying daddy, daddy.
And like I said, he pulls off his mask and so he reveals his face, which is a good kind of book.
I love how we don't really see it, but we see like kind of like this. He does the motion of pulling the mask, and we don't see it from the other angle though, because again, it's just the one shot. Just goes in there off screen, similar to how he dispatched with the guys. He rescues the kid, just carrying the kid off, getting the safety. Right. Really nice. Oh, Tiki. The thing that satisfies me with the hero, aside from just with Kevin Smith, it might be like kind of the punching a bad guy in the face. For me, it's like saving people. Man, that really does it. Superheroes. Yeah, I saved them.
Oh yeah. All right. So with that, do you want to get to the next segment?
Sure.
All right. Let's get to the blinding moment of awesome. Ooh. All right, BlueDragonFive, yours is a little shorter and a little more lighter, so why don't you go through yours first?
Sure. So this one's pretty simple. I mean, again, we as we said before, we're unanimous on the hallway fight. It's pretty much the most awesome thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. The hallway fight is like not only the blinding moment of awesome of this episode, but also probably one of the top 5 of the whole series.
There are a lot of, to be fair, there are a lot of really awesome moments in this series. It's really hard to pick.
There are a lot, but I would definitely put the hallway fight in at least the top 5.
Yeah. Essentially, this is kind of the 3rd episode of Breaking Bad for the whole series. You know, like that moment is like the 3rd, like the 3, like the 3 mark of any series. You watch 3 episodes, you get hooked. Like that was the hooking moment for everyone. That's why they keep going on and on, like how amazing the hallway scene is, because it is amazing. That's what hooks people on this show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But okay, so
as I've said before, I was not hooked on the 1st episode.
I remember telling you, like, if you didn't like the first one, you're gonna love it. I can bet you.
And then it's funny because if you watch Doug and Rob's vlogs, Doug and Rob Walker, they had pretty much the exact same thing where Doug was like, well, I watched the first one. I was like, okay, that's okay. It's good. I'm sure I'll watch it eventually, but I'm not like in a rush to get around to finishing it anytime soon. And then Rob is just like, no, man. I kept telling him, like, dude, fight scene in episode 2, bro. Fight scene in episode 2.
And one of them's pretty simple. It's just when after Claire does the clever thing of like just talking the guy, the Russian crony down, all the cologne and.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the cologne.
after she talks him down, which by the way I love the fact that he can just smell them from like 3 floors down.
Definitely like a good. He really developed his powers like really well throughout the course of the series, and like more and more of what he's capable of in terms of his senses.
But it was really strong cologne.
Oh God, yeah.
I love that they marketed that cologne, but that's again just with the imaginary marketing for Daredevil.
Yeah, market the cologne, the eel drink. We can get a whole lie going here, BlueDragonFive.
Blind people will be able to smell you from 3 floors up.
Maybe Wilson Fisk's head shaving kit.
Oh, that is brilliant. Oh, we got to market a patent. You want to be a kingpin of crime, you need a shiny head first.
A Wilson Fisk line of different toned gray and black dress jackets.
2 layers. Anyway, okay, so less marketing.
Hey Stewie, how's the weather up there? Very fat, like all prices.
Okay, back on topic. So,
yeah.
Basically, after that moment, after like she thinks, okay, I talked him down, he's going away, and there's this great moment of like after he takes a few steps away, Matt just he gets up and he says he didn't believe you. And basically, as the guy's starting to go downstairs, I guess get about to call, make a call on his phone, which again, brilliant that Matt can hear that well. You can hear like he's about to make a call, so he does this perfectly timed. I love because I'm always the guy who's embracing, use a fire extinguisher if you can in a fight. Because I mean, how can you resist that? It's a blunt object with kind of a cool ability. Puts out a fire, causes a smoke. It's a very useful tool in a fight. Use that.
Right.
So basically, Matt I love how flowing it is. He just walks by, just kind of grabs it, like just clears behind him. It's like, wait, what are you doing? Just like grabs it, and I just love how carefully he's holding it by the pin, and he's like waiting to take it out.
Oh yeah.
The little attaching thing you hold on to. Mm-hmm. And basically, I just love this. Again, I love just the classic Daredevil. He's using the blindness to his the sounds, knowing where.
Footsteps on the stairs.
Yeah, he's using his blind talents to his advantage, and just when he's walking down there, it's just like he's moving it in accordance to like where his step is going to be because he can hear the vibrations, which I really love that. And he's going back and forth, just trying to aim it perfectly so he can hit him without killing him.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, still, no matter how you slice it, still really looks like it hurt. I mean, I'm amazed he's not dead, but I'm just going to give Matt some credit there that he knows it's not going to come.
Matt kind of gets lucky a couple times in terms of the no killing thing this episode.
To be fair, he only needs to be lucky with it twice. So I mean, let's give him twice.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, so basically he drops it. Like, I just love the reaction of Rosario Dawson as Claire's when he just unclenches it or whatever. He drops it, and just her look like the wide eye, like, oh my god!
What was that?
It just like, what are you doing? And like, what? Like, clink. It falls, and then you don't even see it. I love how you don't see it. Like, bang.
Right, you just hear it, yeah.
And she like peers over, and then she sees the guy knocked out with like a blood trail around his head.
Oh, God.
So again, I kind of wish the blood trail was gone, but I mean, it's cool though.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's the only minor gripe I have about it. It's like, it's a little sad. It looks a lot like he's dead.
It does, yeah. I mean, whenever there's a cracked head and a blood trail, I mean, that's a pretty good signifier, right?
I mean, it's like Beneke. I mean, Beneke was lucky to walk away.
Oh god, that's a great example, actually.
Point is, it's like a fun. It's a great kind of Daredevil using his abilities gag of like dropping the fire extinguisher. It's always nice to use a fire extinguisher to knock a guy out. It's really, and the way he did it was so cool. Just from like many stories up, just dropping in the right exact place is awesome. I just love that.
Okay, so my blinding moment of awesome is basically the last stand of battling Jack Murdoch. Now, this might be one of the. It's not like the most like kick-ass moment of the whole show or anything like that, but it might be one of my favorites just in terms of how emotional it is and how well edited it is and how well it all comes together. So I love the little foreshadowing that we get, first of all, when Jack gets his, what's it called, the cape or the robe or whatever.
Yeah, he gets his and it's interesting because sometimes they go back and forth, and sometimes it's like Jack the Devil Murdoch, sometimes it's battling Jack. It's always battling Jack Murdoch, but sometimes the Devil's in there with his name. They took it out for this reason because obviously you want the Devil to come out a little more naturally.
Mm-hmm. I like battling Jack. I mean, it works really well.
It's always battling Jack, but sometimes it's battling Jack the Devil Murdoch. Sometimes they go back and forth. Point is, it's battling Jack, and like Matt feels the robe and everything, like feeling the letters embroidered on the thing.
Right.
And he's coming through the waves, the gloves on and everything, like in the fall.
Oh man, it's straight up operatic, man. It is just straight up. It's right out of something like Raging Bull.
Yeah, Raging Bull. Like Raging Bull, eat your heart out.
Right, exactly. And it's like, as he's hearing the announcer describe him like, born out of Hell's Kitchen, weighing 162 pounds, or however much he weighs,
Oh yeah, and I love
the moment where he starts, where he starts banging his fists together. Oh God, it just gets you pumped.
And by the way, I also love how we, again, similar to Matt in this episode, we don't really see the action, but we hear see the reactions to it and stuff.
Sure, yeah. And yeah, so then I love how quickly we immediately cut back to to Matt back watching it or listening to it, and he's just like, yeah, Dad, yeah, get up, and it's just like a big thrilling moment for him because he's so used to Jack, being the guy, and he's always kind of making this emphasis, being the guy who gets knocked down but gets back up again, but Jack doesn't get knocked down then. And then the moment that just absolutely seals it for me is right after that.
One second.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, I just love that you were so built up at this point. Like, how can he lose? Honestly, we're rooting for him at this point. How could he possibly lose?
Mm-hmm. No, but also in the back of our mind, we're just like, oh God, he's going to die. Yeah. He's going to die, and we don't want him to die. But
he's made his peace and everything. He's got plans for after he's
gone. Man, dude, don't make me cry.
We know he knows there's a very good chance he's going to get killed.
Of course.
What he's going to do, and he's going to do something very noble. It's noble that he's trying to set up Matt for the future here, and we don't know exactly how that panned out, which I do like. That's kind of ambiguous how well it panned out for him. Mm-hmm. Even in Jack's kind of moment of glory here, it's still gonna, it might still either backfire, still not work out the way it's supposed to. Like, again, that's kind of Jack Murdoch's life in a nutshell. Things didn't work out for him as well.
So yeah, one of my favorite singular moments in the entire series so far is when we cut back to Jack in the lockers after the fight.
He said the one thing he wants is it's just to hear people. He wants Matt to hear people chant his old man's name in victory.
And but he's quickly going through his locker. He knows he's a dead man. He knows he has to get out of there if he has any shot. But he has to take it in because he hears it. Murdoch, Murdoch,
And there's that
Murdoch,
question
Murdoch.
of what is he seeing? Because he could just be taking it in for a moment. At least it definitely does it for a moment. But then there's a question. He keeps looking there, and just he's Murdoch, Murdoch. He's kind of still looking there, and he has that moment where he closes his eyes because he knows.
Yeah.
Again, the question is like, how much of this is stylistic? How much is actually there? Because I assume it's actually there. Because
I'd want to think it's actually there. Yeah, for sure.
No, I mean like the idea, like it could just be like he closes his eyes and like thank you God, and then it happens later on. But I'm thinking like, oh, it's like that moment of like he embraces it for a moment, then his death walks through the door, and then just he closes the door. I'm ready.
Right.
I made my peace. My will and testament's all made up. Go ahead.
And then, as you said, when Matt wakes up, he hears a gunshot, and he automatically he's just got a bad sense, and he just kind of knows, and he rushes out.
I love the thing that their house is close enough to the gym to the arena that he actually heard the gunshot.
Ooh, God, right.
It might be stylistic, whether him just imagining something bad is happening or not, but I think he heard the gunshot.
Sure. And so he runs up, and then, he's just yelling, like, Daddy, Daddy! And then, as you mentioned, that beautifully transitions into the little kid, at the start of the hallway fight, like, I want my daddy.
Oh, God. But seriously, it is a beautiful, just Jack Murdoch getting his last... Just Jack Murdoch's...
How can you not love Jack Murdoch after this? It's just... Oh my God!
Jack Murdoch's kind of like final moments. It's such a beautiful thing. Like he gets what he wants. Just people chanting his name, and he knows his son is hearing this. So like Murdoch, and then just like he's achieved that. He won that one fight in his life. That one fight, he finally won it for his son for the right reasons, and he knows it's gonna be his last thing he does. But he did it.
Right.
And then just like that, just that eye closing acceptance of I know it's coming, but I did it.
Like I said, it's straight up operatic.
And again, just the cut from the bullet from the again, we don't even see it. Just the gunshot sound to Matt waking up. It's like as one Murdoch dies, another one is born.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's speaking of blind, it's a kind of like blinding moment of awesome.
All right, let's go to the Braille Trail.
Of course, Braille has an important role. The important role of Braille in this episode. That's one thing.
Indeed.
Okay, so let's see. So again, some Braille Trail stuff. We're becoming familiar with the neighborhood and Josie's bar in this episode. So we're kind of becoming familiar with the residents and everything in this neighborhood, which is going to pay off definitely when we meet some other residents of other buildings. Like
Josie's bar is essentially going to be Central Perk for Daredevil.
Yeah, essentially it is, yeah. Also at Josie's bar, we have like a big, huge pivotal moment in Matt Murdoch's life coming up.
Exactly, right.
Josie's bar is very important, but also just getting to know the neighborhood is also going to be synonymous with like Foggy and kind of knowing a lot of the residents in the neighborhood. And
of course, the running gag that keeps coming up of Foggy having these blue-collar cousins and everything that have just like, very average practical jobs. Oh, my cousin's a drywaller.
Yeah, his cousin's in drywall, and he's got his family of kind of handymen and blue-collar handymen in a way. Mm-hmm. So, of course, that's going to connect to Miss Cardenas, right?
Oh, yeah. Cardenas.
Right. Cardenas.
Yeah. Senor Foggy.
Yeah. Let's see. So we got... So again, yeah, Foggy and Matt are kind of known as the champions for zoning in the neighborhood, which is kind of set up that they're the go-to guys if you have a problem in the neighborhood. Which, of course, with Miss, remember what her first name is?
Oh yeah, I do. It's
an E, doesn't it?
Anita, yeah.
Emilita?
You know what? Hold on. Let me check something really quick.
Cardenas. Cardenas. Anyway, so yeah, that's gonna come into play definitely.
I think it might be Elena.
Oh, it's Elena. You're right. It's Elena.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Elena. Elena Cardenas is gonna be very important when we get to her.
Oh, sure.
The fact that she's going to go to Foggy when she's got a problem, it's going to connect there. Again, so Claire Temple being introduced, which kind of potentially is going to tie in the Luke Cage and hopefully kind of tie in. I really hope she's the linchpin of all the shows. I love that if that were the case.
That would be like Because I kind of felt like she did. I really liked her role in this. I don't feel like she had enough episodes because she really is kind of a supporting character. You know what I mean? She comes and goes from the narrative.
She's going to be back for season 2.
Well, that's good. I assume she'd be back for season 2. But I'm just saying, like, if what you're saying is true and she's kind of a linchpin, then that's good because I think Rosario Dawson definitely deserves a meaty role like that kind of expands all these shows.
It'd be kind of nice if she was kind of like a more fleshed out Coulson for the Netflix universe of Marvel. And also, like, something I know this is going to put out.
Is she going to have Punisher trading cards?
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Or what if she has a little brother that's really into Daredevil and he has Daredevil trading cards?
I don't know. But seriously though, I know this is put out just to kind of capitalize on the series, but there was actually they re-released like a Night Nurse comic just to kind of introduce people to who the Night Nurse is, which makes me think they have plans for. But also there was a really cool cover with the Night Nurse comic they put out. Unfortunately, the rest of the comic didn't exactly have this, but it was like just a really cool cover. But it had all 4 of the Netflix characters with like Daredevil's wounded on the street. She was patching the Night Nurse character was patching him up, and then the other 3 were there. And remember, all these shows are set in Hell's Kitchen, so eventually, I mean, she will be in.
All of them are set in Hell's Kitchen, really?
Yeah, all either we're going to start somewhere else with Iron Fist, but eventually he'll end up in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, I was about to say, what about Iron Fist?
Well, regardless, he eventually will end up in Hell's Kitchen, so I don't know how much of a journey he's going to have, but it will. Okay. They all are in Hell's Kitchen.
Because to me, the cool thing about Iron Fist is kind of his origin. I hope we do see that, or maybe. But you know what? It'll probably be like this, where we get flashbacks, and if it is, then I'm cool with that.
And plus, remember, we're also going to, they're going to have to be in the same location for their team up.
Of course, I mean, yeah.
I think we might get like an origin or flashbacks for Iron Fist. The point is we're all going to be there, so it makes sense that she would be there for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyways, yeah, so Claire Temple, kind of a big name there. Okay, let's talk about Sister Maggie, or just Maggie. Okay, so Jack Murdock was on the phone calling Matt's mother.
Oh yeah.
Who was Maggie? Now here's her backstory, real quick. I think it's kind of interesting. Now I'm assuming that either in season 2 or just in the future they're gonna make reference to her because I mean they've kind of dropped 2 hints for her in this season, which makes me think they might be doing stuff. And more, let's not put it past Marvel not to adapt something from the comics in a cool way. So now the character is like a Sister Maggie. So the idea, in a nutshell, she's kind of like Matt's nun mother. So basically, after she gave birth to Matt, her backstory, she gave birth to Matt, but then she had postpartum depression and kind of she had a few mental illnesses. Basically, she had mental illness after that. And like she to a point where like she kind of had this paranoia and some panic attacks, and basically to the point where she had to she enrolled herself into like she ran away and she became a nun because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is like she would kind of watch over but you know she'd still kind of divorce herself from the family just to protect Matt because there was like I believe there was like a sad scene where like she kind of put Matt's as a baby, put him in danger, and she just never forgave herself for that, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see if this character surfaces or if we get I'd even like maybe some flashbacks with her or something like that.
Now they're going to make a reference to her later on, saying when the other sister is talking to Stick, who we're going to meet later on, mentions
that's true.
Well, who's
right.
Does he have a mother? Says, well, that's a story for another time. So that's a reference to Maggie. So the point is he's calling Maggie, and we know Maggie does not come back for Matt. Otherwise, you know, he'd have a mother.
Of course.
So that's important. And okay. I'm wondering, optimistically, I want to say Matt got the money and he used that to kind of go to college. I believe that's what they're saying.
Yeah, right. Go to college and then, start up what little he has with Nelson and Murdoch.
That's what I believe happened. There's a slim chance. I mean, I don't think they're going this way. They might have been like she took the money and ran because I don't know what they're going. Again, Maggie, I don't know a lot about her, but eventually, like in the comics, like she meets up with Maggie when he's injured, he's in the church, and she unmasks him and they have a little heart to heart.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, we'll see how they adapt Maggie. It sounds interesting. Like a girl, she has postpartum depression was a realistic thing, and that kind of made her.
Of course, yeah.
Become a nun, which is interesting. Kind of adds the religious angle to Matt. So we'll see how they pull that off if they do explore it. It's not necessary, but it'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we got also Crusher Creel's reference. Now the Crusher Creel becomes the Absorbing Man.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the Absorbing Man has been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tiki.
Oh, has he?
So he's kind of he's one of our major connects to the rest of the Marvel Universe here, because, Creel, we have actually seen Creel.
Yeah, because God knows Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the definitive Marvel Cinematic Universe thing to go to.
Anyway,
yeah,
so a big thing in this episode, again, thematically, we're going to see continue on here, especially with the Jack and Matt stuff, is like the father-son dynamic, which we're going to see, this really kind of loving, responsive relationship in the Scotch bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see the flip side of that with the Kingpin coming soon.
And it's such a brilliant flip side, and we'll kind of get more into it when we get into it, but it just shows the differences in upbringing between Daredevil and Wilson Fisk, and kind of shows like how like there were a lot of similarities, and if Jack Murdock was like a little harder edged, then maybe Daredevil could have been even dangerously closer to Wilson Fisk than he already is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the real interesting thing is like how their fathers have truly defined them as people, and like how their arcs truly kind of ended up in this series. Like their fathers have made them the man they are.
Sure.
So again, Jack Murdock was a wonderful human being. I mean, he's a real fighter, really resilient guy, and that does definitely translate to Matt. Let's just say Wilson Fisk's father was not too nice a guy.
No. He wasn't a good man. I don't think you're a nice man.
Now, something important we see here is kind of the another thematic thing we're going to see pay off down the lines, like the price of honesty, which a lot of times leads to death. So we're going to see.
Oh God, yeah, that's going to pay off really big with the Vanessa character, of course.
Again, so yeah, the price of honesty leading to death here. It's not just them too. When we meet Ben Urich, that's going to factor in big time to his.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's all over this whole season.
Yeah, and just that price of honesty, putting people in danger, and of course, Jack Murdock does something very honest, and that leads to him being dead.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's just gonna be a recurring thing, like with just kind of the Cardenas storyline. There's also gonna be something there too, it's like just kind of this honest story, kind of leading to a dark payoff.
Yeah, really, the whole thing is kind of just about how like consequences of people that are trying to help other people, and the consequences of those actions. So it's really kind of I don't know, almost a very pessimistic view. Again, thank God for Foggy Nelson.
Yeah. Okay, another huge thing, conquering fear. Now, we see that all over the place, obviously, in the series. Well, the show like Daredevil, it has to be about conquering fear, the man without fear, conquering fear. So we see that with Karen this episode, which is really well done. We saw that with Karen. We see that with Daredevil. He has to send that message, that's one big thing, send the message, I'm not afraid of you, when he's just torturing the guy and just kind of, just showing like the Russians, like, you guys think you can kidnap a kid on my watch, it's not going to happen. To lure me there, I'm going to get the kid, I'm going to humiliate your guys by beating the crap out of him. He's going to probably take the wind out of me.
Oh yeah.
And also, we're going to see, in terms of the conquering fear, again, also conquering fear is like, Jack Murdock conquering his fear of, sorry, he's conquering his fear of losing, not just lose. I don't want to say just losing Matt, because it's not really about losing Matt. It's about kind of like conquers his fear of like not standing up to the guys who are fixing the fights, and he does that ultimately for a good thing. We're going to see that pay off big time when we see a young Wilson Fisk kind of conquering his fear. It's going to pay off big time.
Oh,
yeah. And Jack kind of conquers his fear for the willingness of making this gutsy move, but there are definitely consequences with that. So there's a lot of consequences with conquering your fear. Again, young Kingpin will definitely explore consequences of conquering your fears and what kind of man it makes you after you do so. And we're going to see what kind of man it makes.
So essentially, episode 8 is basically going to be the mirror image of this episode, in a way.
And it's going to be fascinating. Seriously, folks, it is.
Oh, yeah.
And again, just Daredevil, Matt Murdock conquering his fear in this episode is going to definitely just show you like how he transforms as a person, like using that fear in others.
Yeah, I don't think at this point in the series he's the man without fear.
No,
I feel like this whole season 1 is kind of like the build-up, the origin, if you will, to quote unquote the true man without fear.
Remember, the way of conquering fear is through exposure. He's going to be exposed to a lot of scary things, especially
God,
next
yes.
episode.
Oh my God, Matt Murdock is going to have his ass kicked front, down, and sideways, and he's going to be lucky to make it out alive.
But also, again, he's going to be seeing a lot of
Poor case, BlueDragonFive.
He's going to be experiencing. Yeah, he's going to be experiencing a lot of scary things, especially next episode.
Right.
Especially next episode. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yeah.
We also let's see a few more things with the Braille trailer before we wrap up here. One, again, there's that I already touched on this. I'm just going to mention, how far will Matt go? That's going to pay off down the line. Just seeing him kind of questions of morality.
I love how the kind of like the distrust between Matt and Foggy starts off in a very, very innocent way. Certainly. With them just being like, Murdoch, get out here, Murdoch. And we know like later on down the line how that's gonna all pay out.
Of course. Matt had a really cool line here. I think it's gonna come back, especially with Father, like Father Lantum, I think is his name. Mm-hmm. He has that great line they're saying, well, you're stubborn. You can really take a beating. Well, that's the Catholic in me.
Oh God, yeah. Well, that's just Catholicism.
Yeah, that line is really good. So I think
I love how dryly he says that too. Well, that's just Catholicism.
Yeah, that's just the Catholicism.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's also going to come back definitely. Again, maybe season 2 if we explore some of the Maggie stuff, you might get a bit of that too.
I think it'd very much be possible that in season 2, some of the flashbacks we see are like Maggie in the church watching over Matt, but not really interacting with him.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing if we got kind of like a Superman 2 done right, where we couldn't get Jor-El back for the second one, but we explored the mother. But if they did it right, though.
Right, exactly.
If they did something, like, we explored the story of Jack Murray. Let's explore something with the mother.
Sure. Although, to be fair, I would always go for some more Jack Murdoch.
Of course,
flashbacks.
there can never be.
They want to throw them in.
The only thing is, though, I think Jack Murdoch's story is kind of completed, though. I mean, I'm sure there's always
his story arc's done, but I'd still like to see him like pop up occasionally. Like very quick flashes here and there.
It would be kind of nice if we saw like kind of the life lessons. Oh, it'd be great if we got an episode next season. I'm just pitching this real quick. If we got an episode where we had flashback. I want to say kind of a dual flashback almost of like Styx teaching methods versus Jack Murdoch's teaching methods.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
And also, what if the episode was based on, again, just throwing this out there, if maybe an organization known as the Hand was involved and that was like him learning stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe. Okay, anyway, so like the last few things here. So again, Daredevil becoming an ideal. That's going to come in, especially towards the last episode. The Russians are getting in deeper and deeper hot water because of Matt's meddlings here. He foiled them yet again. They're not going to be in trouble for that. And let's just say this connects to the next episode because the Russians yet again have lost some face, and they're going to be, and because Matt has ruined their operations, they need to claim more territory, which is the beginning of next episode, a way of them claiming territory.
Oh yeah.
So last two things here. One, Mike Murdoch is a hilarious reference. Do you know this thing about Mike Murdoch, Tiki?
No, I do not.
Let me just look at the cliff notes here. So Mike Murdoch, they referenced when Claire, again, is showing Matt kind of learning to trust people. Right? He trusts Claire, but again, they're not to the point where it's really obvious you could figure out who he is instantly. But she's respecting him, just like, well, I don't have a name for us, I'll call you Mike. Because Mike was a guy I knew who keeps secrets. Some people
love Mike.
We do love Mike. Some people speculate it might be Mike Peterson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which wouldn't be the worst thing. Some people think that it might be somehow connected to Luke Cage because Mike Collier is playing. What is Mike Collier? No, it's Mike. I think it's Collier actually. It's the guy who plays Luke Cage. His name is Mike, so they might have a reference to that somehow. And Luke Cage might have a fake name or something because again, she knows Luke Cage. Again, that's
right. Yeah, that's true.
But here's what it's actually a reference to. Here's what the thing is literally a reference to.
Okay.
In the comics, when Matt Murdock was just kind of sick and tired of playing a clumsy blind man routine, I forget if he faked his death or not. Okay.
So it's the twin brother, right? The twin brother that's more capable.
It's the twin brother who just walk around. No sunglasses, no nothing. He just walk around and says, "Oh yeah, it's Matt's twin brother, Mike." And it's just such a silly reference. It's so hilarious, though.
Oh god. Oh god, that's great.
Okay, let's see. There's so again, overall, just kind of get the premise of Daredevil, just kind of someone to save someone in danger. You know, we got a bit of that in here, and it's just going to pay off later on. Just it's just simply just Daredevil saving someone in peril who we kind of put in peril.
Sure.
Which is neat. Okay, so that's all for Braille Trail. Unless you got anything.
No, I'm fine. All right, so let's move on. Really quickly, let's go through our. Yeah, that totally sounds like a gavel. Our Nelson Murdoch verdict.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think you and I can easily agree. Like, this is definitely probably one of the stronger episodes of the whole lineup.
Oh yeah.
As you mentioned, just the self-contained nature of it, I think, is what makes it really good, because it's just these three really self-contained stories going on, and each of them kind of impact each other in various ways. Of course, the biggest one being, the Jack Murdoch flashbacks intercutting between what Matt Murdock is facing in the present. But yeah, I mean, I love it. Of course, the hallway fight, it's just a whole bunch of awesome in my book.
Oh yeah, again, this is just a fantastic standalone mini movie, and this is like the first episode where steps are really taken into getting this kind of a show for what is. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. The first episode I thought was really great, but I think the next
the first episode has some pilotitis, but we've been over that. Yeah,
we had. The point is, I think the first episode is good. However, the next two I think are really kind of, they're both equally first episodes for the series as well. You know, it's like, especially the third one. I think the third one's kind of a better first episode than anything almost, but we'll get into that.
Oh yeah.
The point is, this episode, it's kind of my equivalent to, this is kind of the Breaking Bad equivalent to Gray Matter.
Really?
I say that meaning,
Gray Matter is like one of the least action-packed episodes of the first season, and this, I mean, I guess it's not that action-packed until we get to the hallway fight, though.
Well, let me explain.
Okay.
I say Gray Matter because I always kind of use this as the example of, like, when a show does the whole, like, the illogical logic move of, like, well, if this stuff did happen, what would happen next? What's the next logical step? So you have a man with cancer. It's like how Vince Gilligan made things interesting after we've established the premise, so they're not just repeating themselves. So basically, after
it's essentially like the opportunity for change.
Yes, it's basically the question. Okay, so we have Daredevil set up really well in the first episode. How do we make him interesting now? Mm-hmm. So the idea is like, we see him beaten up and near death. Okay, that's what would happen. And that's kind of like, Walter Whitey turns. Someone offers him an instant solution here with the money. What's he going to do to be an interesting character? What's he going to turn down? So this is basically when they took their moments of, like, saying, let's change stuff. And let's start developing our universe now.
Right. Walter White turns down the money for Pride, and then Pride becomes his ultimate downfall in the course of the whole series.
So basically, it's the big game changer episode, I should say, of the series. So I think this is like when things started, like, kind of define the universe.
Okay, I mean, I'd still argue that the bags in the river is a bigger game changer than Gray Matter.
Well,
but whatever.
It's a bit of both.
We're splitting hairs here. We're splitting hairs.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned like the first three are kind of this is also that kind of episode, like the first three hooking moment.
Right.
So basically, overall, it's a fantastic character piece. It really is. Just kind of showing, Matt kind of in the situation where he's just kind of, he's doing whatever it takes to get the job done. He's meeting wonderful characters like Claire Temple and Santino, and also we got kind of Foggy and Karen was stealing the show. Of course, Jack Murdoch. Oh my God, I love Jack Murdoch.
We drank the eel.
Yeah, it's superb action motivated by emotion. That's what this whole episode's about, and it's executed very, very well. And the steps are taken to give us yet another great episode in this long line of fantastic episodes in this phenomenal series.
All right, well put. Okay, so that's all for now. Until our next daring installment of Discerning Daredevil. Excelsior!
Enough said.
No, the correct answer is yes, and you sounded amazing.